WUJM, St. Petersburg.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Doctors in the House Health Show on 99.1 FM, WUJM, St. Petersburg Community Radio. We have an excellent program for you tonight. Please stay tuned.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Doctors in the House, your health show. It's a program about wellness, mental health, and disease prevention. I'm your host, Dr. Morency. Thank you for tuning in to 99.1 FM WGM, St. Petersburg, Florida. And you're also listening online at 99jamstheberg.com. And the phone line is 727-637-2416. Our topic today is your body can and will heal itself. My listeners, I hope you've enjoyed the last series of show we've been doing for the past couple of months. And as a matter of fact, for the past 2 months, we've been talking about a very crucial subject, one that may not necessarily often be heard on a medical show. That is the importance or necessity of having a strong spiritual foundation in order to achieve optimum health. And my message to you, if you do find those shows beneficial to you and your friend, please call the radio station to give us some feedback. And more importantly, we want to hear your support of the station. We take any donation. No donation is too small. And we appreciate your patronage. Thank you. Now, today's show is even more edifying because we can share with you the fact that the body, our body, is made to heal itself. Are you in shock? No, you're okay. Well, the reality is that the mechanism and the design of the body is made to perfection. Can I repeat that again? The body is made to perfection. And let's not really go beat around the bush. Let's say it clearly. This body, our body, is well equipped to heal itself. I really want you to know that. Now, I have to explain a little bit. When we talk about body, I have to explain it a little bit further. Let's say a human being is not just a physical body, which obviously is visible. We can see it, can touch it, feel it. We have access to it with our 5 senses. But it's only the tip of the iceberg. So to keep it simple, let's say a human body is made of at least 3 major pillars. Number 1, there's a physical body, which is surrounded by an energy body or energy field that powers it. Number 2, there's this astral body. Astral essentially means something related to the non-physical realm of our existence, related to the stars. The astral body is the domain of emotions, desire, and feeling. Some people call it emotional body. And it's also connected to the soul. So the consciousness of the astral body is the soul, what we refer to the soul. Number 3, there's a mental body made of thoughts, our perception, cognition, and the mental body has memories. And that mental body is under the direct control of the spirit, which oversees everything. Right? So the body that, as we know it, is very complex, but it's worked efficiently and it can do wonders. actually what we have to do as individual is, it's okay to acknowledge that our body is strong. Our body is resilient. This is not a weak body, a weak entity, nor a fragile or sickly entity. Therefore, it's helped us tremendously when we can trust, when we can love, when we can nurture this body. So the big message is, you have to have faith in this body. You can look into the mirror and say, I have confidence in this body. Remember, whatever name we give to the Creator, we were created with this big brain as opposed to the lower animals, with the purpose to help ourselves, to actually to represent the glory of God, of the Spirit, not for the purpose of our self-destruction. So if we follow and we stick to the primary principle of this perfect body, we will be strong, we will not get sick, and we will achieve optimum health. Now, for the past few months, this is basically what my guest, my famous guest, Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat, has been referring to when we discuss the tools to strengthen our spiritual foundation. So today, Dr. Carolle is back. She's going to share with us again a few cases in the little time that we have, in which she will tell us how she's been able to transform the lives of her sick patient, being a expert, a healer, a teacher, intuitive medicine, and others. Please, let's have your attention. It is my great pleasure to welcome back Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat to the show. Dr. Carolle, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Are you there?
Yes.
Good.
I am listening attentively.
Very good.
The wonderful things you've been saying.
Thank you. And for those new to the show, Dr. Carolle is a board-certified OBGYN, a primary care specialist, and an award-winning author. For the past few years, she's been working as an intuitive health consultant, teacher, and she's also the director of an innovative type 2 diabetes remission program. So, Dr. Carolle, thank you. Pleasure to have you, and we're going to go right through it. So what type of cases you're going to discuss with us so we can illustrate the power of a strong spiritual foundation to back off what I've been saying?
Yes, and thank you for having me. And indeed, the body is a perfect machine, and we can heal it. We can. And having a strong spiritual foundation, and that to me is the key. And you hear so many diseases, like cancer, and then, that the person get better, and they call it a miracle. And then some people even say, oh, you're a miracle worker, because they've seen patients who were supposed to die and they didn't die. But there is a simple formula, and there are 5 of them. Number 1, the person have to want to live and have a reason to live. Number 2, having a strong faith in God that is the master healer. Number 3, believing they can conquer any disease using that faith. Number 4, finding someone, most preferably a doctor, who can affirm those beliefs. And this is where I'm part of the equation when I'm with the patient. And then I remember telling my dad, I was doing this, or my patient. My dad said, no, don't fool yourself. You are a mirror. You are just the conduit. Mm-hmm. And I realized what happened is many patients who came to me, they heard that I could help. And they will just come, and I will reaffirm that. And many have told me they would, the night before, they would go on their knees and say, God, I know I am dying, or something horrible is happening. Can you please show me you exist? Show me a way, show me. And then we will meet. I call it a divine appointment.
Oh.
Last but not least, having a bucket list, we should all have a bucket list. And I always ask them to go and do the number one on the list, and they're going to do it. I remember there was my sister. She had cancer, sweat everywhere, and her bucket list was she wanted to go to Dubai. While she was in the hospital and with oxygen on her nose, and I told her, buy your ticket. Buy your ticket, because when you do, it's the body you saying, hey, I'm going to travel. No time for this. Okay.
Because, when you do those things, though, you feel it right away.
Yes.
I mean, yes. You are planning for a vacation, a lifetime vacation, something you always want to do. Yeah. My God, it's like kids eating candy. I mean, you feel the energy right away. And now we know that, the body has a step on an energy platform where you can feel those things immediately.
Yeah. Immediately, and that's what I said. Going to go home and don't worry about it. Planning for the trip, buying the ticket, and that's one of the cases.
For me, I'll follow quickly, but for me as a physician, I always have that sense I have to do something special for the patient in addition to writing a prescription, doing the test, and the patient comes with a trust in the doctor. Okay? And at least we need to treat the patient as a human being. And when we do, they feel it. And that's the beginning.
That's part of the healing.
That's the beginning of the connection. That's the connection we need. I mean, if you see a patient, you don't make eye contact, you don't really start on high. I mean, because you have to acknowledge there's a human being in front of you. And if we listen to what you're saying and the complexity of this, it's not just a physical body. The powerful parts are invisible. And that's the problem. Anyway, why don't we get into the case?
All right.
What do you have?
Well, I have. Okay. The first one is Jody. Jody, when she came, she's 36 years old. About 3 years prior, she was diagnosed with colon cancer, and then she had chemotherapy and everything, but the cancer came back. And then 6 months prior to our consult, it went into her liver. They've done everything on the chemo, and they said,
that's bad.
And they said,
that's bad news.
Bad news. It went into her liver, and they said you need to go. You're going to die. And what was the reason when we talked, and then we remember the formula. She wanted to live, and the reason to live, she said, she had a husband who's been going through hell for the past 3 years. She's been going to chemotherapy. And she had a daughter now who was 6 years old, and the son who was 9. And she said, I want to be there for my husband and my children, and I want to see at least my son graduating from college.
Wow.
He was 9 years old. Graduating from college, that means 14 years from now.
Wow.
And what was on her bucket list? She always wanted to go scuba diving.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So we talk. One of the things I tell them, don't worry, it's not the time to start looking for Google and what's going on. It's the time you trust your doctor, and this is what's going to happen. And then she said to me, and I saw a beautiful woman a year later coming to see me. I don't recognize these patients because when they come, they have death surrounding them. It's like a dark cloud. And there is a beautiful alive woman coming, and she came and she hugged me and she said, Dr. Carolle, you're not going to recognize me. I said, no, I don't. And she showed me a picture of a woman underwater. She said, I got outside. I said to my husband, you're going to take me scuba diving. My poor husband, he didn't say a word. Here I am. I'm supposed to be dead, and I want to go scuba diving. 6 months later, we said, maybe I should go back to the oncologist. And the oncologist said, who are you? And they said, that's me. They call everybody in the office. And by the time after a year, they did all the tests. Everything was done. She was, yes.
Wow.
Beautiful.
There was a go ahead.
Go ahead.
There was a case I presented during the Blue Zone series. This guy was from Korea, Greece, and he came here in the States at 25, and he went to school and studied engineering and become very successful, had a family, and at age 62, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And they sent him home to die, okay? So what he did, he said, I'm not going to stay. He was in New York, by the way. So he said, I'm not going to stay here and die here. So he went back to Greece, to his island. And then he said, well, until I die, I'm going to actually open up a brewery. I'm going to make a winery instead. I'm going to make the perfect wine, stuff like that. And in his waiting, and then, fresh air, island life, this is one of those blue zone, okay? And then after about a month, he's still there. He said, well, I might as well open up a factory or, a bigger project. And then 36 years later, he was almost 90 years old. Mm-hmm. And then Butner was the explorer who discovered the blue zone. He went and visited him, and he said, have you talked to your doctor in New York about what happened?
Maybe they were all dead.
Exactly. He said they were all dead a long time ago. So that's what you're talking about here.
That's what I'm talking about. When you decide, having a pity party, because you have to, like these patients, they have somebody to live for, something to live for, and then so they're busy, like they're living life. And so what does the body say? Okay, the body rejuvenates itself every 21 days, you know that. The new cells are there, and they say, okay, I have no choice. It's just like you have no time to think, let me Google this, what I'm going to take, poor me, They just say, hey, I'm going to go scuba diving. And I find out later that going scuba diving is not easy because you have to go in the water and everything. She in 2 weeks, she had a certificate. 2 weeks. She went, she started, and there we go.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
All right.
So you have another case, which since you know her dilemma anytime.
So I had another, and I have some of my friends, they say, you always interrupting him. And I say, we have a time slot. We have a time constraint. Anyway, Barbara, 54 years old, she's been my patient for years and years. And then a daughter died with the daughter's husband, and they had an 8-year-old son. And she became the guardian. So one day she came to me, and we're talking about a woman of faith, and she followed me everywhere. Everywhere I go, she said, Dr. Carolle, I will go into a parking lot to see you. And that was also, there was the trust we talk about. And then, so I say, she had a lump in her breast. And then she said, I have a lump in her breast, and she went to have a mammogram, and they said, yes, she needed a biopsy. And then when she came, and then I examined her, and then, yes, there was the lump. And then I felt it. I knew it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a good feeling. And then she said, Dr. Carolle, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I have to be there for my grandson, and I want to be, when he's getting married, we're going to dance. And then, and she asked me, and I said, what are we going to do? She said, you have to have the biopsy. But she said, I don't need the biopsy. So I made an appointment. Usually when a patient of mine has an issue like this, I just call the doctor. When the doctor knows I call them, my patient will be seen the same day.
Okay.
And then, but the doctor said, I'm going out of town. I won't be back for 2 weeks. And he said, I want him. Yes. And then I was sort of inspired to call that particular doctor.
Sure.
Because she said, I want him because I'm going to be praying, and by the time it comes back, the lump is going to be gone. She's looking at me, and that's what I say. I'm the mirror to say, yes, it's going to be gone. And then she said, Dr. Carolle, would you like to pray on my lump? I said, of course. So she went there,
wow.
And I put my hand on it, and then we prayed. He said, God, I have not have time for this, so I want the lump to be gone for 2 weeks.
Sounds like a very straightforward prayer.
Straightforward prayer. God, I don't have time for this. Yes, God, I don't have time for this. Yes, that's the thing. Those people are determined. So there is no thought coming, maybe doubt. No, God, I don't have time for this. And then I got a phone call 2 weeks later and said, you know what happened? I did everything. So I went to the waiting room, another waiting room, before surgery, and then I said, Doctor, and when he came to say hi to me, and I said, Dr. Davidson, would you like to check to make sure the lump you're going to remove is still there? And if no lump, no lump, so same, no lump, and she believed, and we're talking, I don't have time for this, and that's the word. I don't have time for this. And there's so many cases, I could tell you, which shows these cases. The person say, I don't have time for this. Okay.
So what I observe here from those two cases, and I have similar story I can share, but we don't have time, is that the patient actually put up a fight from the beginning.
I don't even call it a fight. I don't think it's a fight.
Well,
it's not a fight. You know what I think a fight is? Those people, they're going to go, they don't let go of these toxic emotions, but then the fight to me, it's a fight. It's just like, I'm not going to eat this, I'm going to go that, what should I eat? And then I take a wrong fight. These people,
or basically who have a submission to the whim or to the directions of the physician. In other words, I will do whatever you tell me to do, so on and so forth. Where
some people, the patients do too. Oh, like Barbara, she went everything. I have those patients, they go to chemo, they go to radiation, they do everything. And then those who are going, they go and do everything. And like Barbara, she went to pre-op everything. It cost her a lot of money. She did everything. But she just I am in the system, and that's what happened. Sometimes the patients might want to say, I want to do this, to do that, but it's very difficult because you are part of a system that is telling you this, do this, and do that.
Sure.
So I have patients who will say, I don't want to do anything. I don't want chemo. I don't want radiation. I say, it's your choice. And then the majority of them they follow. Yes, you follow because I don't tell people you have to do it's your body. And then I don't tell people don't do this, don't do that. Except it's that intimate things that we have, regardless whether they do chemo or radiation. I had my sister that I told you, she had breast cancer, and then 14 years later, it went to her lungs, and then she called me from the hospital. She had and then she had a negative pathological issue with my mother. Women who have pathological issues with their mother, negative issues, it comes to their breast, and that's what I've seen in women with breast cancer. That's my experience. So I told her, "Are you going to let my mother go?" Finally, now I agree, and she said yes. And then, but she said, I want to do chemo. I'm going to follow my doctor. My sister has chemo. She had radiation. Except I told her, while you're doing the chemo and radiation, you're going to go to the doctors and then smile. Always smile. And then all the nurses will want to come and be your nurse. Because and then you don't fight
absolutely.
with the doctor. We don't fight. We just say, you didn't do this. Some people have a list of things the doctor should do. They don't give the doctor a chance to be the healer.
Okay.
They don't give the doctor to be a chance. So I said, bring cake, bring little things, gift him, smile, and then what a beautiful day. And that's what I teach them, little things, details. What they do, and they see life. Say, I'm living life. I'm not dying. I'm living. And sometimes I tell them, you have something to tell you're going to die, but only God and you knows. Why do you mean you're going to die?
Yeah.
You're not going to die. Do you want to? They said, no, then you won't.
Well, Dr. Carolle, why don't we talk about Irma, and then hopefully we can have some time for discussion, because I want to hear that case. That case is more complex. I mean,
yes. We're having a 30-minute show, but in Irma, it wasn't cancer. I saw, for over 23 years, I as a consultant in a clinic for, how would I say, underserved, whatever you call it. And then, so the clinic is affiliated with the UCSD School of Medicine. I mentor resident at the UCSD School of Medicine. And then,
which school is that?
UCSD, University of California School of Medicine.
Okay.
So the clinic was run by those doctors. And then, and I'm a gynecologist, so they will send me the patients who have gynecological problems. And then after the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, I realized when I got there a few months after the earthquake, everybody was upside down. Half of the town was destroyed. And then everybody was sick. They have diabetes. They couldn't sleep. They have everything. And then 4 years later, and I realized only those who witnesses carnage, everybody was fine. And I realized they didn't have medication. They didn't have anything. The only thing they have is their faith. And then so when I got there, and we have so many patients waiting in line with me, and I said, I have only like 3 minutes for a patient. And I said, what's happening? I can't see. I have this, I have that. And I said, let's pray. You pray and ask, and you shall receive. And they prayed, and I let them go. So then I realized then the patients that would come at this clinic, they are hemorrhaging. But then when I look at their medical records, they have high cholesterol, they have diabetes, some are on insulin, they have every diagnosis that you can see.
Yes.
So I said, these women, and then I would go like say, Irma, when I saw her in November, when I look at her chart, in April, she went to the clinic because she couldn't sleep. She couldn't sleep, and then so I saw the diagnosis: anxiety, depression, and insomnia. So they give her sleeping pill, they give her SSRI, and then they give her and they say, you're depressed and all these things. So then as time went by, if you have then I asked her, what happened to you, Irma? What happened to you in March? What happened to you in February?
Sure.
What happened to you in January?
Know. Yeah.
My son died. My son came from college to visit, and then I said, son, he was watching TV, and I said, playing game, and I said, we need to go to the store and get something, and my son was killed instantly.
Wow.
So and she stood up, and she said, I lost my son. So what do I do to her? Why do I do for her? And then all the tests were normal. So all the gynecological tests, and by the time she's bleeding, she has blood transfusion, and I said, what do? I said, God, I pray. I said, this woman who's having, and the diagnosis now is complicated grief. She has complicated grief. And I said, what do I do for her? Because they've done everything. And I asked her, and I saw she had a cross. She had a pendant, there was a cross. I said, oh God, all right. So that's the only thing we could do for her. And I said, you have a cross? She said, yes. And I said, do you believe in God? He said, yes. She's Catholic. She said, do you believe in Jesus? He said, yes, but I'm angry. God took my only son. Wow. And I said, do you believe that? Oh, so then I'm saying. And then I said, God, please guide me what to say. And I just let it happen. I said, do you believe that God had one son, Jesus? Yes. Do you believe like Jesus died to save us? Yes. And I said, then you're a sinner. And she smiled, and you said, why? I said, you have a daughter. And then she smiled. And then that's what I told her. And then she said, I can't, what should I do? So you know what I did? That was the first time I did that for that lady. When you go to the exam, there is an examining room table, and you have papers, to the table cover. So I pull it, put it on the floor, take a stack of gowns and put it there, put another piece of paper, put it there, on top of it like a sandwich. I looked at her in the eyes and I said, there is a prayer to Jesus that you believe in, even though you're angry at him and God. You're going to pray, and you're going to kneel, and you're going to pray. And then this is the prayer my grandmother used to say when things are strong, and I say myself when things are strong. Would you like to say it with me? And I said, then get on your knees. She got on her knees and we say together, Jesus, sweet Jesus, the Lord of the strong, help me, I'm weak. Jesus, sweet Jesus, the Lord of the strong, help me, I'm weak. She said it, and she almost passed out. And I said, I'm holding her hand. And then she said, oh, and I said, after that, and I said, then when you go home, whenever you feel that pain in your belly where your kid came from, it was his time. It was his time. So you have to live, because now that reason to live, she has a daughter. And her husband, by the time the husband said, I'm leaving, I can't take this anymore, crying constantly. And then sometimes the woman stay within the pain that's killing her too. And unconsciously she wants to die to join her son. And I said, no, your son is in heaven. You're going to go to hell because you're doing this to your husband and to your daughter. So I made her, she saw show it to her. It wasn't your fault. It was his time. And then also, you have to live. Reason to live. Your daughter.
Let me. So many questions, Dr. Carolle. So many
we
questions.
Are going to have time.
So many questions. So, but let me ask you. What about your state of mind when you faced with those patients where it seems like you're the last resort? How do you feel when you're helping them? Are you scared? Are you anxious? Are you doubtful?
Nothing at all. I am in a busy clinic. I have 2 minutes. I have 3 minutes. We're talking.
So you mean you can pinpoint this and evaluate some of this in a couple of minutes?
3 minutes. That's the experience.
Wow.
Yes, and I could say, because let me tell you the way it works. We just say, why? Why are you bleeding? Why you have cancer? Why you cannot walk? Why? The patient knows. And I'm told, I open a portal, and I'm looking at the person in the eyes, in their soul, and they tell me, my son died. And then I say, it's the grief that is causing you to bleed and all this. That's why you're dying. And I say, oh, you want to die? I felt it. And she said yes, because she felt she killed her son, so her mother should not bury her son. She should die as a punishment. She doesn't know that it's a subconscious feeling. I saw it. I see it.
So you were not doing this at the beginning of your career?
In a certain way. That's why I ended up quitting obstetric. That's why I ended up quitting gynecology in I would say 31 years. 1999.
Okay.
I heal without a knife. They send these patients to me
because they're hemorrhaging. Okay, for gynecological purposes. And
yes.
Because you also do primary care, you delve into some of the other problems.
No, I've been a consultant for years now.
Okay.
No.
But what I'm saying is that in addition to the bleeding, and then you ask why for all the other issues, and you keep asking why until you
Nope. This is the same. The issues, is the mother, the grief is the same. That's what's causing her to bleed. Or no, they put her on an SSRI. The SSRI causes her to bleed.
Yeah,
and
but I am talking generally, because you see quite a few of those people, but you can actually sense that when you see a couple of, for instance, in her case, she had insomnia, she had anxiety,
That's what happened when you lose a son.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
But what I'm saying, you make the connection in a busy clinic.
No, that's me. That's my brain. Okay, I call it quantum healing.
Okay, yeah.
You cannot explain it. I see it in a blank. Let's put it this way.
Because what I do myself, what I used to do is, we actually were trained to ask what we call, instead of doing a SOAP evaluation, we were doing a BATE evaluation. You always ask the patient, for whatever they comes in, how's life, what's your background, how life treating you, what are you doing, what is, and then all of a sudden, because sometimes people don't present with anxiety, depression, you ask them a question and they start crying, or they just, look up the ceiling, and then you can detect.
Let me explain to you why I see it. I'm like Google.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to explain. The person is there. I see everything.
Okay.
I see everything. Okay.
So that's the intuitive specialist here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I wasn't into specialist. It's just I've nurtured it. I nurtured it.
Okay.
Oh, we all can. That's why I'm doing this show, so people can understand. We all have it.
Okay.
Like my father said to me, I'm not an intuitive specialist. My father said, you're the mirror. And then a famous psychologist, she said, you open the patient's portal so they can see.
Okay.
She connected a death of a son and a grief and the remorse she was feeling. That's what causing her to be sick. And plus, they get her medications. Statins make you have high cholesterol, and statins give you diabetes.
Dr. Carolle, let me tell you, while I'm talking to you, I hear this voice says, there's so much here to open up the discussions. So I think we can do the next show based on the same case study, and
Irma.
we have the time to Irma, and we have the time to really discuss it, because so many questions, as a family doctor, so many things come to my mind to ask you. So I think right now we should do is kind of let's send out some take-home messages to the folks who've been listening to the show for now, and then we can hopefully pick it up, because that
next time we'll discuss Irma and we'll go more in depth.
Correct. So what is your take-home message here?
Your body is a perfect machine.
I agree.
And you can heal yourself using your faith.
Second.
And then ignore naysayers, and people say, oh, this and this trying to give you, don't eat this food, don't eat that food. They're the one who's killing you. They think they're helping you, they're killing you. And you have people around you that believe, yes, you could be dying, but you can resuscitate. I remember saying to patients, you know, when Jesus came and this Lazarus was already dead, you're not even dead.
Well, my last word is, you know, I'm talking to the patients, and I'm talking to any clinician out there who may be listening to me. When you see a patient, you consider all the complexity of the human being, all the different aspects that make a human being, not just the physical body. In your assessment, in your treatment, then it's not necessary.
No, I don't do any treatment. I don't give people prescription. I give a patient. I don't treat people.
No, touching people is a treatment. You may not call it that way. But you may not be able to bill for it, but it's a treatment. Listening to somebody is a treatment.
Yes.
Okay.
But you know what I do? I have a prescription. My prescription pad is a post-it note.
Okay. So.
And I say, that would be for Irma, I would say, I surrender.
Okay, so when you consider that some of this is not necessarily, we call it a miracle, but when you actually have that confidence in yourself, and you have that confidence in God, you have that spirituality, those things happen.
They do.
They
happen all the time. That's what I tell people. People say, you heal. I have a very dear friend of mine, we fight all the time. You heal this. I say, nope. And this is what I say. I of myself, I do nothing, but the Holy Spirit works through me. Thank you, Jesus. I don't do anything. That's what I try to explain to people. People heal themselves.
I understand. You know the system, but I understand. Dr. Carolle, my assistant is looking at me. He said, we have another show to do. So I want to thank you again. This is very informative, very educated. This is an excellent program. It's too short, but I'm looking forward to really do another show with you.
Irma, Irma.
And I'm also looking forward to reaching out, because I understand your upcoming book, where you summarize all of this, the strengthening of the spiritual foundation for quantum health. The 18
for optimum health.
You mentioned the word quantum. For optimum health, the 18 ways to unleash your innate healing power. I'm looking forward to really take a look at this stuff. And please, thank you for listening to the show again. Listen, if you really want to know about those subjects, please visit Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat's website at Dr. Carolle, DrCarolle.com. And you can purchase her book. She has another book called Forgiving Yourself and Others. This is an important subject. I mean, actually, I've heard a talk just on how to forgive yourself.
And for you folks who've been listening, thank you very much. And for more questions about this show, a copy of this show will be posted on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Morency. Feel free to comment on YouTube and contact the radio for feedback. And this is, we accept donation. This is a community radio, so we need every support you can get. And to call, here's the number again, 727-637-2416. Thank you very much.